Hello, and welcome to Sanlando Soundwaves. I'm Jeff Kotkin, and this is Week 15, Day 71. Today our reading comes from Numbers chapter 13, verse 25, and Numbers chapter 14, verse 1, from the New International Version translation of the Bible. At the end of 40 days, they returned from exploring the land. They came back to Moses and Aaron and the whole Israelite community at Kadesh in the Desert of Paran. There they reported to them and to the whole assembly and showed them the fruit of the land. They gave Moses this account: "We went into the land to which you sent us, and it does flow with milk and honey. Here is the fruit. But the people who live there are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. We even saw descendants of Anak there. Amalekites live in Negev. The Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live near the sea and along the Jordan." Then Caleb silenced the people before Moses and said, "We should go up and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it." But the men who had gone up with him said, "We can't attack those people. They are stronger than we are." And they spread among the Israelites a bad report about the land they had explored. They said, "The land we explored devour those who live in it. All the people we saw there are of great size. We saw the Nephilim there, the descendants of Anak, who come from Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them." That night, all the members of the community raised their voices and wept aloud. Now let's consider our 7 arrows, or 7 questions, that we have been using to study the passages read each day. You may want to pause the podcast after each one to have time to reflect. Number 1. What does this passage say? Number 2. What did this passage mean to its original audience? Number 3. What does this passage tell us about God? Number 4. What does this passage tell us about humanity? Number 5. What does this passage demand of me? Number 6. How does this passage change the way I relate to people? And finally, number 7, what does this passage prompt me to pray to God? Now, let's look at the brief devotional about this passage on page 87 of our book, 7 Arrows. God faithfully brought the Israelites to the brink of the promised land. When they arrived, they noticed that the land was already filled with inhabitants. And not just any inhabitants, the people who filled the land were intimidating and strong. Moses and Aaron sent 12 spies into the land to assess the situation, and their report did not inspire confidence. The land was a good land, filled with the blessings of God, just as He had said. But the people who lived there were impressive, and their cities were big and well protected. The group of former slaves cowered anxiously on the outskirts of the land, unsure how they would ever live in the promised land. 2 spies, Caleb and Joshua, still believed that the people could take the land, but the rest of the nation did not agree. They rebelled, making decisions based on fear rather than faith. They even sought out a leader to take them back to slavery in Egypt. God's anger burned against the people, and He reminded them through Joshua and Caleb that there was most important wasn't the size or power of the enemy, but the presence of God. If He is with us, we have nothing to fear, a lesson the Israelites had seen time and time. Thanks for joining us today, and I hope you'll tune in tomorrow.